Hello everyone, and we welcome you into Pioneer Football with Coach Jerry Odom for this special Signing Day 2020 episode. The Tusculum Pioneers lost a lot on the defensive side from graduation from a season ago. Had to get some defensive backs, maybe a couple of defensive linemen, a couple of offensive linemen on the offensive side of things for this Pioneer football team, plus some specialists. I'm Brian Staten, joined by Pioneer Coach Jerry Odom. You know, Coach, it was a season where up and downs last year. You know, we had them, and you know, I still think we're trying to mix some of the young in with some of the old. And what was old was our defensive secondary and our defensive line, and those guys really proved really beneficial for this football team from a year ago. But you got to replace a lot of that.
Yeah, we do. We got to replace some of those guys. We feel like we were going to sign 4. We ended up signing 5 young DBs. Just made it work. As far as that goes. Got a couple guys back that we were able to get guys who played for us 2 years ago. Nelson Luis is back on campus. Really excited to have him back. We've got a couple other guys in the loop that I'm really excited about. I think our D-line will lose some guys that play a lot of football, but athletically, boy, we got a chance to be really good. I'm excited about that group. And I think the DBs, obviously we're going to be young there a little bit. We'll still look for a couple junior college guys or transfers to kind of fill in some holes. But Jay Boyd is back on campus. That's always a big thing. We've got a couple transfers that were doing a year residency last year that we think are going to be really good football players for us. So this was an interesting year in recruiting. We've had some staff turnover, some changes. Brought in a new offensive coordinator in Cade Bell, and what he brings to the table. 2018 national champion, scored 55 points a game. If we can get that, some of that kind of production, I think we're going to be pretty good. And then, we had a couple coaches that were able to get D1 jobs. I always, think that's great. Really happy for, for those guys that were able to move up in this business. And so we'll have a change or two there. But for the most part, really happy with the way the off season going. Coach Paz has got them getting it in the weight room, and love this group's attitude and really where they want to be. And I think they know where our issues were last year, and we talked about our culture and getting that culture back and being disciplined and trying to do the right things. And I think that's something that we're going to work very hard on this off season and springboard us in the spring, which hopefully springboard into the summer and the next season.
Here's some guys that I'll miss from last season. D. Alford, obviously a shutdown corner. David Johnson, who really became kind of a heart and soul leader for that defense, and Malik Goodman. Just some of these guys in the back end. Jordan Shippey, who had an opportunity to be one of the greatest running backs in school history. He lost his last 2 games due to injury. So you got some guys, some great names, some great kids, and are having the opportunity to play at the next level.
Yeah, D. Alford, so happy for him. Just signed a 2-year contract with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers yesterday. So super happy for him. Couldn't be happier. I'm hoping for guys like David and Jordan and Kevion Broadwater and things like that. They've got NFL workouts and things of that nature coming up in the next month or so. So really excited for them as they work toward that and trying to follow out their dreams and things of that nature. So we're really happy right now. I'm really happy with the guys that we were able to pick up, and I think it was a really good class for having change in your staff and the amount of time we had together and putting this staff together. And putting this class together. I thought they did a phenomenal job, really did.
And you had a lot of guys walk on senior day, which means you got a lot of guys in your first full cycle of recruits that stayed with you for that. So that's also to be applauded as well, the guys that you brought in. Which leads us to this. The guy's on the road, for 5 months out of the year, basically, I'm living in the guy's office for the most part. Doesn't even send me a postcard when he's on the road trying to.
I got to do that. I got to do a better job of that.
Better job, man. Let's go to our 2020 signings, and this is in no particular order from what we have, but one of the first, DONTA HACKLER for this guy, and I've had a chance to see him because he's kind of a local guy here, so I've had a chance to see him on the basketball court, and obviously what he proves to be from David Crockett High School. It's a good athlete.
Phenomenal athlete, 2-3-star guy, local guy. We were really happy to have DONTA. I think that he can do big things here in Coach Bell's system. We think he's a guy that can come in and compete, right away. And we love his athleticism. Love how he goes and gets the ball. I love those type of guys, and I think he'll fit in really good here. And great to keep a local guy that really did some good things on the field. You'll see him here. This is the kind of guy he is, going for a deep ball here, well thrown, but full extension, runs well, catches everything with his hands. This is really he's really a good red zone target. A true 6'1", 6'2" guy. Sometimes in bare feet. And you see how he just goes and gets the ball. Really big hands. Really think he's going to be a good player for us.
You're going to love him just because of his physicalness as well. First team 5A All-State, 43 catches, 800 yards, 12 touchdowns this season. Nolan Troyer as well. You're going to need some guys that can come in here and be very physical as well. Nolan, I think, can be that guy.
Yeah, Nolan Troyer is a kid that was a two-time All-State guy in the state of Florida at Armwood High School. We think the world of Nolan. He's a true center, which obviously we need one of those. Could play guard if you need him to, but like I said, very athletic, comes from a very good program, coached by a guy named Fred Hicks that I coached at East Carolina. So, I'm showing my age, I guess, but really a good football player. Love this kid. He's got that nasty edge to him that you like, but he's tough and he's really smart, and I think we just picked up a really good football player.
Troyer, a member of the Tampa Hot 100 recruit, a first-team 7A All-State, both his junior and senior seasons, just physical all the way downfield.
Yeah, really physical, likes to finish blocks. He's athletic at the point of attack. Love the way he snaps. You see him getting out here on the screen, gets on linebackers. And we just felt like, was a guy that would come in and solidify us. We got Herring back another year.
Okay.
Having Bailey's great, but now it'd solidify that center position, which is really important.
All right, so the Pioneers pick up an offensive lineman, obviously much needed there. We talked a little bit about Kevion Broadwater, but, Bailey Herring as well. Torino Davis, I think, is a guy that will be a name that we'll be saying, at least from the broadcast booth, for a couple of years.
I certainly hope so. Torino is a kid that I have been chasing for 2 years. He's a Blakely County kid. He's 6'5", 200 pounds. He's the best dunker I've ever seen at a high school game. I went down and watched him with one of my old coaches, and I bet he dunked 15, 16 times in the game that we watched against Veterans High School down there. He decided to go to GMC, Georgia Military College, and played really well as a freshman, but this year really broke out as a sophomore. Was a first-team JUCO All-American. I think his per-catch average was the best in the nation among JUCO people. He's also a 6'10" high jumper and a two-time state champion in the state of Georgia. So as a 6'5" guy that can high jump 6'10", that's a pretty good red zone product right there.
You see some of his highlights. Again, anytime you can average probably more than 17 yards per catch, his was a 22.4 yard average. That's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, just a big physical guy. You see him, but he runs pretty good too. I mean, for a 6'5" guy, those guys don't have to be super blazers a lot of times, but he really, you put him out on the backside where he's going to get possible one-on-ones against a 3x1 and things of that nature. I think he's just going to win a lot of 50-50 balls. And the thing that impresses you the most, honestly, about Torino is when you watch people try to press him. A lot of big guys struggle with press. But when people try to press him, and we've seen a bunch of practice tape and spring ball tape and a lot of other things, you see him run a sluggo right here, a slant and go. He does an unbelievable job with that. So a big guy with body control, and I really think the sky's the limit for Torino.
All right, Torino is a guy that will remind you, for you old SAC football scholars, Tymir Zimmerman at Newberry, just by looking at the highlight right there, and we all know how Tymir Zimmerman has been. DJ CLEA is a guy that I think you're extremely high on.
I'm super high on DJ CLEA. DJ CLEA was a guy we got a little bit fortunate on. He was committed to Georgia State for about 6 months, and they ended up going on somebody else. DJ is going to probably be a bandit for us, that kind of hybrid linebacker position. He's 6'2", 210, runs extremely well, very physical, was a 3-star athlete from 24/7, had over 100 tackles this year for Trinity Christian High School, and they play, if you look at their schedules, the who's who of people in the South that they play. And I think this kid is not only a really, really good football player, but such a solid individual that I'm really excited to have him on my team.
You see some of the highlights for DJ here, second team All-State this season as well, again, out of Trinity Christian.
Yeah, watching him come here, he played everything from safety to defensive end to linebacker. You know, so he's a true hybrid guy. So right there, he's playing backside safety. Then the next play, he's up in a bare front at the defensive end. You see the kind of punch he hits people with. And he's the kind of guy, I'm telling you, that he will have a chance to come in and get in the mix. I think at Bandit right away. Really physical kid. Like I said, played you know, against a really, really tough schedule, and I expect really big things from DJ.
Another Georgia military guy, TRAVELL, TJ Jones. So TJ will come to the Pioneers out of Georgia military.
Yeah, another unbelievable kid out of high school. Watched this kid in high school, tried to get him in high school too. Had over, I want to say close to 3,500 yards rushing in high school, maybe more than that, but he had 3 1,000-yard seasons as sophomore, junior, and senior year, had 54 touchdowns out of Lake Gibson High School. Then he goes to Georgia military and ends up playing a good bit. There's a guy ahead of him, you know, or played a little bit more or whatever, that ended up being a Power 5. We were fortunate to get him, really are. This guy is a big time player, and I think is going to make our running back core is going to be as good as there is in the country. I really believe that in Division II, and this guy makes us better. Sweet feet, very quick in the hole. He can do it all. Pick up the blitz, catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a guy that I think is really going to make us a good football team.
TJ, first team All-State out of high school, 8 touchdowns, 8.2-yard average as well at Lake Gibson. Stellar career, over 3,700 rushing yards there. Georgia military mentioned 8.2-yard average last year.
This is him against Monroe College out here, 90-yard run. You know, he runs really well, as you can see too. But the thing that impresses me about it is his footwork. Well, when you watch his footwork in the hole, just the little nifty cuts and things like that, and he's doing it against really good teams. Monroe was a good team this year. That was out in Texas, of course, Corsicana right there. You know, just a guy that we think is going to make an immediate impact, and super psyched to have TJ part of our program.
Some of our first 5 there for our special signing day 2020. As we move along, another Tennessee guy out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, Josh Curry. And again, I'm not even making light of what we did last year in special teams on long snapping, and the guys that did it were trying their best. No question about it. And they weren't even long snappers per se. They were just kind of picking up the trade.
Yeah.
But you had to go out and you actually got a guy that is part of that.
Well, we got 2, but this is the first one. Josh Curry is a kid that I think is a 4.5 star on the Coles kicking, deep snapping deal. He was rated the number 27 long snapper in the country by Coles. He's a 6.9, 6.8 guy, you know, per snap on punts. That's going to make us a lot better. I know it's going to make our punter a lot happier. It's going to make us a lot happier to have 2 guys like that can throw the ball back there. And we're super excited to have him out of Oakland High School, great program in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Home of one Jackson Coffin. He lets it, you know, so we're really happy to have him. But you can see he really fires it back there. He's used to being at a 14.5, 15-yard. Runs good enough, you know what I mean? Runs pretty good where he can get a guy on the ground, causes a fumble right here on this highlight. You know, but again, I think the consistency is just firing that thing back there on a consistent basis and being right there. And we were fortunate. My first 3 years here, we had 3 of the best. You know, we had 2 guys that were really, really good, all conference selections, and we just, you know, and it's my fault. We didn't do a good enough job finding a guy. I had a guy, he ended up going somewhere else late on us, so we ended up having to go with some younger guys, and we just struggled. But I felt like that was a huge spot for us to pick up 2 guys that have a chance to win that position.
Yeah, make no question about it. Special teams can cost you a game, and when you get punts blocked or you just can't get the ball back there, it changes the momentum. It did a lot last year, so Pioneers addressing that, one of the 2. Derek Simmons, we welcome you to Pioneer football out of Neptune Beach, Florida. Yeah,
Derek Simmons is a big kid. He's a really athletic offensive tackle, 6'6", 310, 320. This is a big human being, 6'6" and bare feet. You know, so this is a big guy. Great family. He's originally from kind of the mountains of West Virginia, moved down to Atlantic Beach when his dad retired, but I love him. I mean, he's a super physical guy. We feel like he's got a chance to get in the 2 deep right off the bat if he has a good camp when he comes in.
It takes a look at some of the numbers and the highlights from him out of Fletcher High School, first team all-district. I love the fact they put in the pancake blocks in there, and that's what you see. And of course, they pride themselves in the pancake.
Yeah, I love the finish. As you see one right here. I mean, you know, sets inside. The guy tries to take an inside move, finishes on him right here. He picks up the blitz right here, finishes the guy on the pickup. Can play probably right tackle or left tackle. You see him pulling right here. So you see a 6'6", 320-pound guy, pulling and then finishing the block. That's what we're looking for. And really, it was the athleticism, that I really liked. Not, there's a lot of big guys out there, but big guys who can really run and move, and that's what we thought we got out of Derek.
JAMARI Hill is a linebacker out of Valdosta, Georgia for the Pioneers as you pick up next.
Yeah, JAMARI Hill's a football player, another 3-star guy from 24/7. He's actually graduated in 2019, but he's a guy that kind of got overlooked, and he was going to go maybe to a junior college, but then he retook the test, so we kind of we were able to sign him. And I tell you what, he's a 6'2", 210 guy that can play Will or Mike for us at linebacker. Super athletic out of Lowndes County High School, which is a really, really good program in Valdosta, Georgia. So I'm super psyched to get JAMARI on campus and ready to go in August, because I feel like he's going to get in the mix pretty quick too.
Some of the numbers on him: 24/7 3-star prospect, first team All-State, first team All-Region. 74 solo tackles for him as well. A guy that can be a ball hawk, apparently. Yeah,
no doubt about it. I mean, he's a guy that can play bandit, he can play Will, he can play whatever. You see him dropping. They were in a 3-4 defense. He was kind of an edge guy on a 3-4 for Lowndes a couple years ago, but you see him playing in space some. You see him playing in the box. You see him rushing the passer. Right here, he gets a pick, and is able to show his speed for a big guy. He runs pretty good, and like I said, I think he could be a bandit, Will, or Mike. He's that athletic. But I just like this kid. I liked him from the get-go when we watched him last year, and you see how rangy he is right there and getting into throwing windows. So we feel like we had a good one there.
Juan Henry is a guy who was not even the focal point of the running attack, and has just phenomenal numbers.
Yeah, Juan Henry was part of what they called the three-headed monster at Miami Central High School. Won the state championship this year. I want to say they ran for 538 yards in the state championship game, or something in that range. It was some crazy thing. He had, I think he still ran for over 900 yards. And Juan's a really good back. We were fortunate to get him, kind of got him late, 5'10", 180, a very, very good player. And again, just kind of add into that running back core that we feel like is going to be one of the best around.
Some of the numbers on Juan, just to stat boy correction for Coach, 498 yards in the state
I couldn't run. It was ridiculous either way.
That is a lot of yards. So over 900 yards for him on the season.
Against a pretty good Pensacola Escambia team too, and they ran through them. But Miami Central has got, that's a very, very good high school down there. We were fortunate. Coach Bell, Coach K. Bell, is very tight end to Miami, so he was able to get us a few guys here or there out of Miami and kind of work that area probably a little more than we have, and we were able to pick some really good players out of that area.
All right, so welcome to Tusculum, Juan. Also welcome to Tusculum, a guy that has ended my high school broadcasting career each of the last 2 seasons. Well, this season anyway. Jackson Fritts out of Mexico.
Love this kid. Tough kid. Really gets after. It was kind of a jack of all trades for them. Kind of played some running back for him. He played some linebacker, defensive. I think we're going to play him as a fullback type, because we're going to use more of that in this system. We'd be more of a sniffer, but he's a big-bodied kid. Good, solid grades, tough. Dad was an ex-pro wrestler. Told me he wrestled with Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair at one time. I thought that was really cool. That's that's something that you don't get. And me as a big old school wrestling guy, I love that. So, but this kid's got a chance to be a really good football player for us.
Old NWA. Look at some of this. Jackson Fritts out of Meigs County, and they had a chance to win a state title this year. Had a phenomenal offense, had a phenomenal system as well, and had a great quarterback. And this is just kind of the product. You guys just made plays.
Yeah, and that's what you see out of him. You see physicality in his run style. When you do give him the ball, he catches the ball well out of the backfield. There's one play where he blocks the guy for 15, 20 yards down the field. Maybe this one right here on a kind of an inset ISO right here, and you just see him, watch the tenacity of him just staying with this guy, and he finishes him 25, 30 yards down the field. You gotta love that.
Oh, I saw plenty of that. In a couple of playoff games, but excited about Jackson Fritts, first team All-Region. They finished runner-up in the state this year at Meigs County. Jordan Taylor, our next commit out of Miami, Florida as well.
Yeah, Jordan is a kid that's out of Norland High School. He is a super fast young man. He was 10.7 in the 100 last year as a junior, 21.59 in the 200. We'll probably be running track here as well. His goal is to be in the 10.5s this year in the 100-yard dash. He gives you a true cover corner that can run with anybody and make up speed. And on top of that, has phenomenal grades. So I really like Jordan Taylor a lot.
Some of those numbers on him, Jordan could be potentially replace a guy who led the league in pass breakups. He had 19 pass breakups with 5 picks this past year. Sound familiar? Yeah, D. Alford.
Yeah, if he could be as good as D was just as a freshman, I'd take it, but I think what you're going to see here is he's covering, the guys that he's covering can all run right here, and he's out one-on-one on an island. Really nice job with the offhand right here, getting the ball out. Played a lot of man coverage there, a lot of press. So he ends up, he understands what I want out of that position. If you can't play man-to-man for us, you're going to struggle, but at the same time, you see him, he's coming up as a boundary corner. You can't be afraid to tackle. You will be the leverage point tackler sometimes in what we do. So I'm really excited to have Jordan on campus.
Welcome, Jordan. Welcome to Tusculum. Another guy, Jaden Alderson, that some will say about Dobbins Bennett in Kingsport, Tennessee, the fact that they turned their entire season around was on their special teams, and he was a big reason why.
No doubt about it. And you know what I like about Jaden, too? Great athlete. Big, good baseball player. You see him kick. The biggest thing that impressed me about him, he was great on his field goals, extra points, but it's those kickoffs, man. 70% or more kickoffs into the end zone. And we struggled with that last year. And he's a guy that I expect to come in and compete for that job right away.
Some of the numbers on Jaden, prokicker.com, 4.5 stars, 52 PAT, 10 of 12 on field goals.
Yeah, and you'll see some of these kickoffs. I mean, when he kicks it, he's a lefty, big leg, but this is, in the back of the end zone. Not just in the end zone, in the back of the end zone, because you got to remember, you got to back everything up 5 yards in the college game from the high school game. Can punt if we need him to, does a really good job in that. Gets roughed right there. Still don't know why we didn't get a call there. But, like how excited he is about, just going about his business, them getting a punt, and then you should get a field goal right here from him. He's got a really strong leg. See how the ball jumps up? I love the way the ball gets up. Height right off the get-go.
Jaden Alderson, welcome to Tusculum. Andre Robinson out of Covington, Georgia, welcome to Tusculum as well.
Yeah, Andre was the player of the year, I think, down there. He jack of all trades, played tailback, played corner, was a great return guy, all those things. And we'll talk about him and his twin brother a little bit later. We'll talk about his twin brother, but Andre is a really good football player. 5'10", 5'11", 175 pounds. Can run. We expect him to get in the mix either a nickel or a corner real quick.
Some of the numbers on him, anytime you are named the athlete of the year, you could be a jack of all trades, no question about that for Andre. Part of the Rockdale new Super 6 and a 2-time special teams player of the year as a return specialist as well out of Covington, Georgia. Yeah,
you can see him here at tailback, breaking a long run. He rushed for 800 or 900 yards. On top of it, the kid never came off the field. You see here, I think, on a corner blitz, come up, which we do this a good bit. And I love how the physicality of him coming off the edge. I just think the kid can do a little bit of everything for us. This is against Colquitt County, one of the better teams in Georgia. You see him playing man-to-man. The guy he's playing man-to-man against is an FBS player, covering him. Great job on the go. Was able to keep up with him, show that speed. So we're excited to have Andre on our team.
Welcome, Andre. Christian Roberts, our next commit out of Boone High School in Orlando.
Yeah, Christian's a guy. He's a really kind of unique gentleman. He does not have social media. In this day and age, you just don't see that very often. But he's really fast. Another 10-700 type guy. He's going to be an unbelievable third down slot / running back in Coach Bell's system. He's perfect for what he's looking for. This guy's a true home run hitter, but he can also, you can put him in the backfield, you can flex him out, and empty, and he runs routes just like a receiver does. So we think we got kind of a steal with Christian Roberts.
Let's take a look at some of those numbers. True old schooler, kind of like one of my guys.
Yeah,
over 1,000 yards rushing on the season. Obviously, he has that ability to go the distance as well.
Well, you'll see it right here. When he gets behind you, you're gonna have trouble catching him. He can really run. And the biggest thing with him that, like I said, that impressed me is how he scored his touchdowns. You see him catching pitches. You're gonna see him, and like right here, you think they have an angle, not so fast, no angle. So this guy can really go. We think we got to, like I said, we think we got to steal. And then you see him split out here, and this is where Cade really wants to use him, where he split out, catches the ball like a receiver, he could play a position where you're going to give him jet sweeps, bubble screens, whatever else. And we think we got a really good football player there.
Does Kenny Funny come to mind for some of the old school Pioneers? It does me when I see that as well. Welcome, Christian. Jordan Smith, for the Pioneers out of Sanford, Florida.
Yeah, at Sanford Seminole High School. Love this kid. 5'10", and that's probably why he wasn't bigger recruited. 5'10", 225. He is the number 4 rated wrestler in the state of Florida. I think at the time we signed him, he was undefeated this year. He's only been doing it 2 years, but he's like 48-6.
Yeah.
He was I want to say he played both ways. He ran for 900. He was one of the best linebackers. They said, everybody in Central Florida says he's the best linebacker in Central Florida. And when you watch him, you see why. When he hits you, he's got a heavy head, he's got heavy hands, and he's a really physical guy. I love this kid. I think he's a good student, he's a good kid. I think he'll fit really good into our system.
Some of the details on Jordan was the Orlando Touchdown Club Defensive Player of the Year, the Sentinel Ironman Player of the Year. A lot of guys liked him, obviously.
Yeah, he's a good football player. I mean, Sanford Seminole had a really good season. I think they went to the semifinals, but you see him right here. Like I said, when he hits you, you know it. He's one of those guys. I'm like, there's a kickoff on here, and I don't know if it made the cut or not. Maybe this is it right here. And you just felt like they had a little pooch kick, and you felt bad for this kid. You'll see him, and you ain't got the, you'll know when he hits him. And this is what this kid does, and he does it all over the place. He plays running back for him. He never came off the field. Like right here, this is against a pretty good football team down there in Lake Mary. 4th down, then he takes it to the house. So he runs good enough. Like I said, I think the kid's a big-time football player, but, I have an affinity for 5'10" linebackers. Myself being one of them, and I think this kid is a real steal. I love him.
All right, a phenomenal pickup there for Jordan Smith. Chase Sanders for the Pioneers, just down the road in Ottawa, Tennessee.
Yeah, I love this kid too. I think Chase he's a big joker now. I mean, he's a legit 6 foot and bare feet, 185, 190 pounds. He would fit perfect for our backside safety. You think, when I think of him, I think Malik Goodman a little bit. Play on the backside, but he could even grow into being like a Sam or Will linebacker if he ended up getting bigger. I think he's a guy that can do a lot of different things for us, but I think we'll start him at free safety off that backside, and like I said, his tape speaks for itself. A lot of picks, a lot of tackles, makes a lot of plays, and I'm really happy to have him on board. I like Chase a lot.
Let's take a look at some of the coverage. 85 tackles, 5 interceptions as he played safety for Ottawa High School.
And you'll see this right here. He's playing front side safety. Looks like they're playing some kind of quarters concept. Gets one of his picks right here. He's just kind of always around the ball. First team all region, I believe, down there. And Ottawa is we've had some kids from there in the past. I think Ashton Watson's an Ottawa guy. And when you see him, his footwork's good, undercuts the crosser, gets another pick there. He understands how to play quarters. I like, if I was coaching, I'd say, hey, be a little farther inside, but I still like the basis of what we're looking for is there, and I really like the way this kid handles himself when you meet him. See they try to double move on him right there, picks it there. He just makes plays. He's kind of that guy. He's a playmaker, and I think he's going to be a good addition to our back end.
We've always had some good talent come out of the Chattanooga area, which is where that is. And again, that's just going to be another one. I believe that in Chase Sanders. And I think what I'm seeing just in some of this is guys that understand the game of football and what coverages they're in and what they see. So excited about that as well. Next guy is Adrian Robinson. We've already met his twin brother.
That's correct. Adrian is he'll probably be more of a nickel for us, more of a safety than a corner, a little thicker than his brother, but really physical at the point of attack. Good coverage skills, played a little bit of everything for him, corner, nickel, safety, but I think he's kind of the same thing, jack of all trades. We felt like he's a kind of a Swiss Army knife. We don't know exactly where we're going to put him yet. We'll kind of feel out when we get here, but he's a guy that we think brings value right away on special teams and see where he gets in the defensive aspect of it, and we'll find the place for him.
Take a look at some of the highlights here. 6A, it's big-time football in Georgia as well. His brother was the Athlete of the Year. He made the All-Region team, so obviously a lot of athleticism in the family.
No doubt about it, and both really good kids, like 3.5 GPAs, 21, 22 SAT or ACTs, so really on top of their grades as well. And I think you see him, great physical hit here, covering a guy, comes off, good fundamental tackle there. I just like I think you're seeing a lot of that, a lot of physicality out of these DBs. We have a lot of physicality in this group. You'll see another one right here on a zone read where he's playing nickel, comes out on the quarterback, makes a tackle. So we feel like we have a lot of moving parts in these DBs. I think Coach Murphy did a great job in evaluating talent, and I think we got some really good ones in this class.
Look, the team lost a lot at bandit, corner, and safety, and we continue to go after another defensive back, and this one is JAVELL Brown.
Yeah, JAVELL Brown is a super athletic kid. He's a longer guy, 6 foot, bare feet, 160, 165 pounds. He's a high jumper, high jump 6'4", triple jumps, I think 45 something, and he's a great basketball player, scores like 18 a game from one of the better teams down in his area. So he's a guy that I think can do a lot of different things. He might be a nickel, he might be a corner, might be a safety. So again, kind of Swiss Army knives, because I think if they can cover, then you can put them a lot of different places. But that's got to be the first key component, and I think all of these guys can do that.
Take a look at the tape. A guy had 8 interceptions, named first team All-Area by the Lakeland Ledger as well.
Yeah, just like I said, this is against Lakeland High. Really, pretty good football here. This is against Lake Region, against one of the better receivers in that area. Gets a pick there, or gets a PBU right there. I mean, like I said, he plays off a little bit, but you just see the change of direction right here, the transitions. That's what we should talk about a lot as a DB coach. How can he come in and out of his hips? Will he be physical enough? Does he transition quickly? And I think you see all those things with him.
And again, what I see is a guy that understands route running, again, from the defensive side of things. Welcome, JAVELL Brown, to Pioneer Nation. Trenard at Summerall, we welcome you from Miami, Florida.
Hey, this guy it might be one of my favorite guys on the list here. He's 5'6", 145 pounds, but he played for Booker T. Washington, who won the state championship down there, and was their most productive guy on a team of really, really good football players. I want to say he had 900 yards of receiving, and he's not big, but he makes plays, and it's like he tell you, Coach, I got that dog in me, and he does. When you see it, he goes out and gets it. He will compete against anybody. I just like that, the way he does it, he handles his business.
All right, some of the numbers, what you're going to see, Pioneer Nation is a Ryan Talent or a Deontay Gist type player here. When you get these guys in the slot, especially, they can go. That's the type of guy you like.
Yeah, absolutely, and we needed those guys. We need some guys that can run. We got some good route runners, but we need some guys that are really fast that can run the top off. And I think, guys like this that can catch a bubble screen and stick his foot in the ground and, break a guy off and then, make a 2-yard throw, a 50-yard game. We need more of that. And I think we know that we're trying to build depth at this receiver position. That was the first thing that Coach Bell thought that we needed to do, is we felt like we had some good receivers here, but we need to add to the depth so that we don't fall off when 1 or 2 guys may get hurt or something else that happens.
It's welcome, Trenard, to Pioneer Nation. Jordan Harmon, you need some offensive linemen as well. You've been able to get a few of those in this group.
Yeah, I love this kid too. I think he's underrated. He's out of First Coast High School, 6'4", 300 pounds, very, very athletic, good feet, really good kid, high academic guy. Very happy to get Jordan on board, and I think he's happy to be here. I just like this kid's attitude, and I think he'll be another one that's got a chance to get in the 2 deep very quickly.
Some of the highlights for him as well. First team All-District for First Coast High School out of Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah, you'll just see how athletic he is. He finished, same thing, finishing blocks. Trying to make sure that they're doing, finishing every single play. And he's a guy that can play right tackle, left tackle. He can probably play right guard. He can do a lot of different things for us. And I just think the athleticism for him is what really showed out to us.
Being very, very physical. Wyatt Hall is our next guy, and I'm not sure we don't have the video for Wyatt.
Yeah.
A guy out of Union County, out of Maynardville, Tennessee.
Yeah, Wyatt's a guy that we signed at the mid-year. That's kind of why we that's why we didn't have a graphic. Apologize to his folks, but I want to make sure we did get him up there. But Wyatt's another deep snapper, very good deep snapper. I believe was another ranked deep snapper that we signed. So, between him and Josh, I think it'll be a healthy competition, and those guys will get after it for the next 4 years, hopefully making each other better and getting after it. He's here already on campus, working hard, doing it in the weight room, and very good kid.
All right, he was ranked #1 class 2020, Cedric Ogilby's Kicking Academy, 28-28 on punt snaps, 17 of 17 on point afters. And again, it was a big deal.
We do have some.
We got some stuff on him. So it was a very big deal for this team last year.
No doubt about it, 100%. This is something we had to get right. And I was going to sign at least one, like I said, probably two. I was looking, and just, you know, we looked at transfers, we looked at a lot of different people, but we just felt like these two high school kids just had kind of that knack to do what they're supposed to do. So very happy to have him aboard.
All right, welcome Wyatt. Javon Jackson, we get another wide receiver, very athletic wide receiver. And again, I'm excited about this because this kind of reminds me of some of the guys that we've had, you know, maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Well, you know, I love Javon Jackson. I think he's the steal of the deal. He's a 10, 800-meter guy. He's a guy that you see stop, start. He played in kind of a pro-style offense, so I don't think that he got maybe the spread stuff that it could have really made him look really, really good. But, man, he makes some plays, and great punt returner as well.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at some of his numbers as well. He had 23 catches, 339 yards, 14.7-yard average, and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, and you can see him right here, really runs good routes, broke that off a little out cut. And then, obviously, he's another guy. This is against, looks like Miami Northwestern, who usually runs pretty good, and you can see that you take a 10-yard route and go to the house with it. And I think that's one of the things. Here he is on a reverse, and this is what we need right now. We feel like we have some really good outside receivers, but we needed some slot receivers that had some juice, you know, had some quickness about them, could get us, make some big plays. To go along with a guy like Jake Moss, who's a great route runner and things like that. I think that was important for us to get. You see the double move right here, which is a quarters beater. He just broke the guy off, you know, outside and then brought it back. So really happy to have Javon. I think he's a really good player.
All right, so far I'm really excited about this wide receiving class that we're bringing in to go along with the guys that we have. And again, you know, a guy that can be a long snapper, but a guy that you got to be an anchor on your offensive line. Welcome, Tommy Mahoney.
Tommy Mahoney from Lackawanna College, old Philly guy. You know, I love this guy. He's tough, nasty, old school, gritted out, can play center or guard for us. Can long snap on short snaps if we need him to. That's always a good thing. But just love this guy's attitude. He's just like, hey, coach, tell me when to show up and go to work. I'm ready to go to work. And I think this is the kind of guy he is. And I think he's a guy that's got a chance to come in. And we're still looking for a couple more that are going to compete to get in the mix right away. We expect these junior college offensive linemen to get in there quickly.
Some of the film on Tommy as well. Of course, you know, when you're part of a junior national championship style and atmosphere, you know, you're playing for a good program.
Amen. And they had a great year there at Lackawanna, and he played a lot for them. And when you see him, you know, what you like about him is just finishes. You know, just another guy that plays really hard all the time. You see him playing center a little bit, see him playing guard. I think he's just going to be comfortable, and he's going to come in and, like I said, compete right away.
Welcome, Tommy. Jermaine Witherspoon out of Miami, Florida, you know, a big-time defensive back. I think you'll like this guy as well.
Yeah, Miami Killian High School. This guy's a baller. He coming in at nickel. I think he'll get in the mix. Like, I see him, because that's kind of what he played, is he might be my one freshman that if he has a great camp can get in the mix quick, because, you know, the people he played against, the people he covered, his film's impressive. You know, I don't say that lightly. You know how I am about film. His film's impressive, and I just think he was one of the more underrated guys down there, and I'm really happy to get him on board.
Let's take a look at some of this film. 59 tackles, 6 interceptions, couple of caused fumbles as well. Was elected to play in the Miami-Dade All-Star game, which is probably doesn't come by very lightly either.
No, we had a couple guys in that game, but you can see him right here. Watch him come downhill. This is what you like about him. Hey, he comes out of his hips. He had a pick on the one thing playing nickel. Now he's returning punts, and I want to say this may be against Northwestern also, who was a state champion. So, I mean, you can tell he can run when you're watching him return punts like this to the house. And so he's a guy that can do a lot of different things for us. So, like I said, we feel good about this class.
Hey, welcome, Jermaine. We're excited to see you
Spoon.
as well.
Yeah, love Spoon.
Raphael Williams, another wide receiver, a little bit bigger than some of the other guys that we have seen.
Well, he's got to get in the weight room, but let me tell you something. This guy's the best route runner in high school I've ever seen in my life. He is YouTube famous. If you go to like Golden Feet, one of those deals, he is unbelievable. Some of the things he does in these 7-on-7 games and things like that. He's great in his high school film too. But man, when you watch this kid run routes, if he gets in the weight room and really develops himself like he can, because he just, in his own admittance, hasn't been in the weight room very much. The sky is the limit for this kid. I really believe that.
Some of the highlights as well. First team All-Broward selection, second team All-State, and Coach has already said one of the best route runners. You better be when you're playing in slop like this.
Yeah, well, that's just sand. That's just sand.
But from brain.
Yeah, all right. I hear. Oh, yeah, like right now, I agree with you. But that was a double move. Went with a corner post right there. And, you know, you can't see it quite as good, but had, I want to say, you know, for a guy, he's probably a 4.55 guy, but his route running is so good. I think he had like over 10 or 12 catches in 11 games that were over 40 yards. So really can run, just smooth. He's just really, really smooth, and I think he's going to be a heck of a player.
A deep threat as well for this Pioneer team, too. And a linebacker. I know you like these guys. Ernest Johnson, we welcome you to Pioneer Nation.
Well, we looked at our linebacker core this year, and you got one that's going to be a senior, and you got one that's going to be a junior, or two that are going to be juniors, and really there's not a whole lot after that. So we felt like we needed to go out and get 2 or 3 really good linebackers, and we felt like we did in this class. Ernest Johnson is 6 foot, 210, tougher than nails, can really run. Very good football player, another state championship guy out of Miami Northwestern. So tape, all you got to do is watch the tape. He's a good football player.
Watch some of the tape on Ernest for this Pioneer team coming in. 82 tackles, 6 sacks, and interception as well.
Yeah, just I love the way he plays in the box. You see him rush the passer some. He could be a bandit even if we wanted him to. But just a physical guy. And the biggest games of the year he showed up biggest was the Miami Dolphins Player of the Week against Carroll City, which is a big game down there. Then the state championship game had 12 tackles. One was, big early on a jet sweep. He caused a fumble. So really fired up, about having Ernest on board.
All right, that's just a few of the guys for our Pave the Way 2020, and just some of the commitments. Obviously, this is a Pioneer program that's still looking for those,
yes,
and doing that. And as a matter of fact, you're actually going to have a tryout, Kevin.
We are. The 29th, we've got an open trial. It's only for seniors in high school only. You got to go to TusculumFootballCamps.com. You got to go through that to sign up, because there's some forms and things like that you're going to have to fill out. But we did this last year. We signed 6 guys out of this camp, and I'm looking between 6 and 10 for this camp too. And I think it's a really good way for the unsigned guy that might have gotten overlooked, that thinks he was slept on, just fell through the cracks. It happens. You look at, I've got 2 or 3 guys on my team right now that are starters that started up, guys that kind of fell through the cracks, and they are heck of a good football players. I don't think that recruiting is an actual science. There's a lot of factors to it, and you can miss. And I'm not saying that we did or didn't. I'm just saying that if you want to show us what you can do, be here, sign up for that, and let's get you out here and let's make you a Pioneer, because we need some more good football players on this team.
All right, coming up here at the end of the month, so get those tapes in, whatever you need to send in, go to that website, get signed up, and get the information signed in, and get out here. Of course, here at Tusculum, we got the indoor practice facility, so you'll be able to come out here. It's not going to be canceled, it's not going to be postponed, those types of things.
Amen.
So you've got some assuredness when you come to participate in front of these coaches here at Tusculum. And again, the South Atlantic Conference continues to expand, it continues to grow, and it is proving to be one of the top and premier conferences in Division II football.
Amen.
Look what Lenore Ryan has been able to do.
It's true.
Carson Newman coming back. You've got a Wingate team that's been very solid.
Yep.
Tusculum would like to be in that mix, and I think you guys are getting
We're close. We're not quite there, but we're close. And I think with this class, it certainly will help. We got it. We're still out there recruiting. I tell people that all the time. Signing day last week was just the first day of signing day. You can sign all the way up through, the summer. So I think that it's important for people not to panic if they didn't sign on signing day. It's just one day. But we're still looking. We'll constantly be looking for Tennessee guys. We'd like to keep guys close to home. If you think you can play Division II football and you're from the great state of Tennessee, we'd love to talk to you. Please call me or email us, and we'll be happy to talk to you. And hopefully we can get some more guys and fill this roster up with some ballers that want to play football for Tusculum.
This guy's on social media, so
I am
he's
definitely
looking for you. There's no question about it. You can always reach out to him and find him. He'll get you in contact with the right guys and the right information that you're going to need to know. One of the best coaches I've been around in figuring out ways to get guys on campus and ways to get guys get a good financial package for you as well.
Amen.
I know we probably can't talk a lot about that, but I'm high on that guy for that because I think that he does a great job with that. You got those questions? This is the guy to get in touch with. You can find him again on the website. Visit us, TusculumPioneers.com or TusculumFootballCamps.com as well, and get signed up and get here. Just a part of that. That's my sales pitch. And if you guys show up, then I'm going to talk highly about you on our fantastic TV coverage that we've got. Thanks to Zach Hartle behind the scenes for putting this show together for us today. And again, and got a lot of the guys on the Pioneer football program. Social media is huge. Highlights are huge. We want you to send those to us so that we can see them, and we'll have a show for you as well. Coach, it's good to see you.
Good seeing you.
As always. Haven't seen the guy in like forever.
But on the road.
Still looks good, though. He's looking good. All right. So until Pioneer football season begins in August, that's the next time I'll talk with you. You can tune into some basketball because I'm doing that as well, and the spring sports are underway here at Tusculum. For the coach, Jerry Odom, I'm Brian Staten. Until next time, go Pioneers.